What's up, people? So today I'm coming to you from my bedroom, and we're probably barely going to move the camera at all, if at all. And we're going to have a sit down and talk. It's a Q&A about bulking. I'm excited about this one. So we got in loads of questions. I'm going to try to keep this video again not too above 10 minutes. Definitely not above 15 minutes.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
Hopefully that's what the hope is. So we're just going to get straight into it. And yeah, this whole video is just going to be about all your questions in regards to bulk. Yeah, so with that being said, we're just going to get straight into it. And yeah, we'll try to get through at least 10 to 15 questions, hopefully. Right, so I'm going to start off kind of at the beginning, right? So I got a question in from a man, Finn Cave. What are my bulk macros? And I kind of touched on this in the last video. But basically, I'm a little bit different than most people. I just basically aim for 4,000 to 5,000 calories, depending on the day, depending on what I hit the day before. It's all a little bit weird. I aim for 160 grams to 200 grams of protein, less than 170 grams of fats, and then let the carbs happen. Does that make sense? On that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you kind of a basic macro calculator. So one that I would actually use for people, or give to people. That's a really basic starting point. Now everybody is going to be different. This isn't going to give you the perfect number for bulking. Everybody's a little bit different, but it's a good starting point. And then yeah, we'll go from there. So on my Instagram, I actually have 2 posts about this. One is calculating your calorie needs, and then one's calculating your macros, okay? So before you can calculate what macros you need, you have to know how many calories you need to eat in a day, okay? So easiest way to do this, start off, take your body weight in pounds, then you multiply it by 14 to 17 depending on how active of a person you are. So if you're like me and all you do is kind of go to the gym and sit in front of a Mac and that's where you do most of your work, you're going to be on the 14 or 15. If you work a job where you're on your feet all day, you're maybe a personal trainer, you're going to be on the higher end of things. So that's going to give you kind of your maintenance calories, in or around your maintenance calories, right? Then in order to bulk, put on weight, generally we're going to add on an extra 200 to 500 calories, okay? Now if you're a smaller person, or if you're not on that many calories, I'd start on the lower end, okay? Say if you're on 2,500 to 3,500 calories, I'd go into a 250 to 350 calorie surplus. You get me? So don't always go to the higher end. If you're somebody on really high calories, maybe 5,000, 6,000 calories, that's when I kind of push the calorie surplus a little bit higher into the 500 to 600 range. But general piece of advice, always start off a little bit lower, especially if you want to keep body fat gain to a minimum, okay? So always start off that little bit lower. Okay, so that's how you figure out the calories. That's part 1. So now if you did all those steps, you have your calories. Macros, let's just make it as simple as possible. So protein, first of all, we all need the good protein. Easy, really easy way to do it, 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's probably more than enough protein for everyone. I even go a little bit under that a lot of the time, a little bit over a lot of the time. Just keep it in or around that 1 gram, 0.8 to 1.2 grams, simple. Fats, depends how much you like fats. If you're like me, you love fats. Try to get at least 20% of your daily intake from them, and even as high as maybe 30-35%. And the rest is carbs, so you just let the carbs fill in the gaps basically, okay? Right, so now you know how to bulk, okay? You know the very basic premise of it. You know you need to eat more calories than you burn off in a day. You know how many calories you have to eat, and you know how to split it up macro-wise, okay? So we have the basics covered. Now, it's a lot easier said than done for a lot of people. A lot of people struggle to eat food. I am one of them. It just takes a lot of discipline. So here's kind of the rest of the questions on how to make it easier, things like that. So on that note, a question I got from Tom Farrell 92 is the best foods to eat for a bulk, okay? This is going to be very individual. It's going to come down to budget, stuff like that as well. But generally, the calorically dense ones. So your complex carbs are going to hopefully be coming a lot from rice, pasta, things like that, a lot of breads. And your protein sources, literally whatever you want. Any of them. I like to keep the higher calorie ones in, so the burgers, things like that. But whatever you want. And then your fats, same as your preferred source. Honestly, when it comes to bulking, there's no magic foods. There isn't. Like, your bulking diet doesn't have to be any different than your cutting one. You literally just add in more carbs is the easiest way to describe it. So whatever food you enjoy eating the most, just keep a nice balance of complex healthy foods, real foods, and then, you know, some of that nice stuff in there. I have some sitting in front of me right now, some of that dairy milk. You know me, if you watched the last video, you know I like my chocolate, man, so yeah. On that note, a lot of people asked about a healthy versus dirty bulk. So Glenn Larkin, you were one of them. I didn't write down the rest of the names, but there was a few people asking, is it better to bulk healthy or better to bulk dirty? My advice is everybody's going to be a little bit different, okay? And it really depends on your goals. like for me, I don't care about my physique. Like honestly, as long as I don't look terrible. I never want to look terrible, but it's not a priority of mine. I am eating and training purely to get stronger in the squat, bench, deadlift, and that's the reason I eat, okay? So obviously the simple answer is a healthier bulk is always going to be better. It makes sense, it's healthier, you know what I mean? But is it always practical? No.
Bacon is good for me. This is very
You're gonna be good.
My advice, I've said it in the last video as well, and this is something I want to drill into people's heads, is find something that you can be flexible with, get a better understanding of food, and learn kind of to be interchangeable with your food choices. So to me, that means eating 70 to 80% good quality whole foods, okay? So the foods you're gonna think of straight away, you know, your veg, your complex carbs, your proteins, all that stuff. And then 20 to 30% of foods to help get the calories up. So your nice stuff, you know what I mean? Your chocolate. To some people, there's a difference between good quality and bad quality food. So it's a very personal thing as well, but generally 80-20 is a good rule, okay? So hope that answers the healthy versus dirty bulk question. Now, bulking on a budget. This was asked more than anything. The first person to ask it was Mikey Benny, okay? I'm not gonna go through all the names, but bulking on a budget, this is what I'm really happy to talk about, and it's one that I did for literally years, okay? So I started off bulking, I lived at home, I had no income source of my own, you know what I mean? You can't go to your parents, look, I need you to spend €100 on shopping this week for me, you know what I mean? You kind of have to work with what you're given. So here are my tips for those of you on a low budget looking to bulk, okay? And again, let's premise this with saying it's not going to be possible to be optimal or the healthiest or that shit here. It's just, that costs a lot more money basically. If you have to cut out certain things in order to get certain things in, it has to be done sometimes. So tip number one, get used to cooking and get used to pasta and rice. They are the cheapest, most calorically dense foods you will find out there, and they're also healthy, really going to help your training, really going to help your energy, okay? So what I used to do is I used to cook up something like, I don't know, it was 2 to 5 kilos of rice, bag it up and freeze it, because the cooking takes so long. I used to do that, a good 5 kilos of rice in the freezer constantly. I'm not like that anymore, but back when it was more about the bodybuilding and the exact, back when I was like 16, 17, that was what I did. Yeah, tip number one, rice and pasta. Tip number two, shop at like the supermarkets, right? Go to the reduced section, find meat that is nearly out of date. It's so much cheaper than buying it new, okay? It doesn't always taste as nice, it definitely doesn't, but fuck me, if you're on a budget, who cares, okay? We've all been there. Like, say for example, Tesco, sometimes you're gonna find like 4 to 8 burgers for like €1 or something, you know what I mean? It's crazy the shit you'll find. Chicken breast as well. So you always have your eyes out for deals basically. That's gonna bring me on to step number 3, is be careful with your meat sources, okay? Because nice meat gets expensive quick, okay? And it is definitely worth the money, and when you have the money, I advise you get nice meat because it's so nice. But when you don't have the money, you can't be picky, okay? So piece of advice is stop buying fucking expensive chicken breast and expensive turkey burgers and all this nice luxurious stuff. And as I said before, just get the cheaper stuff. Okay, number 3 or 4, I'm not sure where we're at. Chocolate and cookies, milk, all these calorically dense, really cheap foods. Like, honestly, simple. You can go get you probably get about 1,000 calories worth of chocolate for €1 anywhere, like absolute max. You can get as high as 1,400–1,600 calories worth if you go Tesco. And yeah, honestly, as far as money to calorie ratio goes, you're not gonna beat chocolate, like. And the 5th tip is actually have a budget. So actually have a certain amount of money you are going to spend on food, and then go to the shop and spend that amount of money and just get, you know, a nice mixture of things. So like, just you'll figure it out. You'll figure out what you can afford, what will let you get in the calories you need, the macros you need, things like that. But yeah, the absolute biggest tip I just gave you is that pasta and rice. Like, that'll change your life. Cheap noodles as well. That shit is just such lifesavers. Like, honestly, it's fucking crazy. I lived on pasta and rice for a solid 3 years, I'd say, maybe 2 years, at least 2 years, from the age of 16. Fuck me, man. When that's what you can afford to eat 3 or 4 times a day, that's what you do, you know. Right, I'm gonna leave it there. I might make a full video on this sometime and actually maybe bring you on a little bit of a shop, just so show you how cheap you could make like a week shopping, you know what I mean? If that's something you're interested in, let me know. So next up, I got worst mistake to make while bulking, and this came in from Sean O'Farrell. Okay, so again, it kind of depends on the context, because you know the answer everybody's going to say straight away is getting too fat too quick, but for some people it's not the end of the world. But that is what I'm going to say anyway, is putting on too much weight too quickly. Not even because of body composition reasons, but more because of health and cardiovascular reasons. If you start piling on pounds, you're gonna feel shit, you're gonna look shit, your mental health's gonna depreciate, you're not gonna feel good about yourself, you're gonna get tired fucking walking up the stairs. I've been there, I was there. You get tired doing anything when you start to put on weight too quickly. So stop setting these fucking crazy goals. Like if you weigh like 65, 70 kg, don't make a goal to get up to 90 kg in like a year. It's fucking, it's a ridiculous amount of weight to put on. Aim for the half kilos, the kilos, just let them come slowly but surely. And just make sure that you're feeling healthy the whole time. That's my main piece of advice there. So the biggest thing is don't put on weight too quick. Following on to that one is how to keep fat levels low from William C00. A small surplus. It's simple. Keep a little bit of cardio in there. Again, it's not necessary. As long as the surplus is small, you're going to create minimal fat gain. So just, if you really want to keep fat gain minimal, 200 calorie surplus for the rest of your life. In my opinion, if you're going to bulk and you're going to bulk properly, you have to expect to put fat on, and it's just one of the things that's going to happen. So expect it and just don't get too worried when you start putting on a little bit of fat, okay? So I got a question, it's from Megan McDonald, and it's how to bulk your legs, and she put in commas for girls specifically, okay? So a lot like when we're trying to lose weight, we can't spot reduce our weight. So we couldn't just lose fat from our stomach, we can't just put weight on our legs, okay? So a lot of the things I spoke about already are going to apply to you, okay? So figure out your calorie surplus, okay? And start putting on weight slowly but surely. Weight train your legs 2 to 3 times a week, just make sure you're recovering. And do that for years and your legs will slowly build. It really is a slow process. It's just like anything else in the gym, okay? There's no quick fix, unfortunately. So probably not the answer you wanted, but there you go. Following on that point, actually, I got a message in from an Alex Michelini. I probably butchered your name. It's another girl, and she said, should girls bulk? And again, absolutely, if it corresponds to your goals. So if you want to get bigger, if you want to build muscle, if you're training for a sport, whatever it is, again, it's all about the context. It depends what your goals in the gym are. If you want to message me what your goals are, I'll let you know if you should bulk or what your best approach will be. But yeah, more often than not, just like boys, girls probably should bulk, especially if it's to do with body composition and getting bigger. Owen Personal Man, what's the crack? You asked me what mistakes have I made while bulking, okay? So let's start off with a little bit of context. I used to be kind of chubby, like a long time ago, probably 12, 13. I joined boxing when I was like 14 or 15. Lost a lot of weight, okay? That's the reason I joined boxing, because I couldn't join the gym yet. And then while I was doing that, I was at home kind of working out. I got my own 30 kilo dumbbell weight set thing. It was fucking gangster, man. But anyway, fast forward to the gym when I'm 16. I always just wanted to be big. That I always kind of was the bigger person, you know what I mean? I was fatter as well, like don't get me wrong, I put on a lot of weight quick, and that was my biggest mistake, but I was 16, you know what I mean? I'm happy I made the mistakes I did. I've always loved making my own mistakes and learning from myself as opposed to other people. I love fucking practicality, you know what I mean? So I love going through it. Because like, everybody tells you when you first get into the gym, don't eat too much too quickly, don't put on too much weight too quickly, but I learned a lot more actually doing it than I did of not doing it. So biggest mistake was just getting fat really quickly and using it as an excuse to eat everything my first probably 3 months of training. And then also there was a stage, I think I was probably 18 to 19, somewhere in that range, and I only weighed, I think it was 81, 82 kilos, but fucking hell, man. I didn't look too fat, but my aerobic abilities were terrible. Like I would get, as I was talking about earlier, I would get out of breath walking up the stairs, walking home from school. It was disgraceful, it was absolutely disgraceful. So I spent a long time fixing that, and that's why this bulk has been a lot slower. And now I currently weigh about 83.5 to 84 kilos. And I feel healthy as ever. I genuinely do. It's fucking great. Even when I used to talk to the camera like 6 to 9 months ago, I'd get out of breath. Whereas now I'm alright, like, you know. Here's an interesting one from Shane Trainer. Should you train more often when bulking as opposed to cutting? And again, I feel like such a sellout, but it's all down to context. More often than not, no. Like cutting should not necessarily be an excuse to cut down your actual training. It should be an excuse to maybe cut down some volume, but not really. Say if you're training for powerlifting, you're going to train fairly similar whether you're bulking or cutting. You're going to be on a program. usually we actually structure our bulking and cutting periods, well I do, around the training program. So if I'm in kind of a hypertrophy phase, I'm definitely going to be in a surplus. If I'm in a really intense training phase, definitely going to be in a surplus. Maybe when I deload or take a really nice light week or two, I might go into a deficit just for the sake of it, you know. Yeah, I suppose the majority of these are probably lads in regards to physique. So you definitely should train the same when bulking and cutting. You can't expect to get the same results, but plow on hard while you're cutting. Work hard to keep that muscle mass that you've already grown, you know what I mean? I'm afraid that this video is already going to be long as fuck, so I'm going to just do one or two more, okay? So one that I want to talk about, where is it gone? A Good Bulking Powder by Alex Coward, and also Is it good to drink milkshakes once in a while bulking by Gorilla Gains? Okay, so let's just talk about liquid calories basically. So I am definitely an advocate of liquid calories for those of you who struggle to eat your food, okay? In regards to me recommending a powder, I'm not going to do so because I think they're shit and overpriced. Okay, so let's go back to the budget thing. They are extremely overpriced for what you get. They taste shit, they're clumpy, they're filled with a load of bullshit ingredients, they're terrible, okay? Make your own smoothies, simple as. You can tailor them to your needs, you can put in more fats, carbs, proteins, whatever you need, okay? So, for me, a really easy high calorie smoothie, here's your ingredients. Take your milk, take some high fat, high protein Greek yogurt, some peanut butter, things like seeds if you struggle to get your fats in, things like lots of fruit if you struggle to get your carbs in. You can add in more protein powder if you need to get your protein in. Just make your own smoothies. It's a lot easier to track and it's a lot easier to be kind of you can adjust it to your daily needs and they taste better and you're going to get more micros in them and less bullshit in them, okay? In regards to is it good to drink a milkshake every now and again? Fuck yes it is, because milkshakes taste good, man. Milkshakes taste good. Okay. I think I got the large majority of the good ones in. I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question. You can always send me a DM if I somehow skipped over your one, because I'm not ever going to be able to get them all in here, you know what I mean? So you can DM me, I'll answer it, no problem at all. So let's just finish off with somewhat of a quick summary, okay? So you want the bulk for whatever reason, okay? Figure out the calories you need, figure out the macros you need. They're your first two steps. From there, figure out your budget. Okay, 3, and figure out what foods you're going to eat. That is literally it in its simplest form. Step 5 is do that on a daily basis. Step 6 is keep your fucking training intense for whatever reason you're eating all this food. Step 7 is be consistent for years. Bonus steps, 8, weigh yourself fucking daily. Just keep a note of it in your phone. It's simple. Make sure your weight's not going on too quickly, and also make sure that you're not losing weight or just maintaining, because when that happens it's time to up the calories a little bit more again. And yeah, that's the basics of bulking. I probably will make a full video on bulking on a budget because it's something I have a lot of insight to give you guys. So if it is something you're interested in, drop me a comment, drop me a like, whatever it is, just let me know you want that video. In general, just let me know if you like this video, the kind of more Q&A style ones on a particular topic, because I love making these ones. So hopefully the video doesn't get like 4 views and be a complete flop, we'll see. But again, if you're here at the end of the video, you're part of this secret gang, you know what I mean? Like, you're the ones I love, you're the only ones who hear me say this bit, and you honestly put a smile on my face every day, so thanks very much. If you are new here, please drop me a subscribe, be around for more videos in the future, and yeah, peace guys.